Hi, in this video I'll help you get to know your car a little better. At the end of this video I've put together a straightforward infographic that summarizes all the key points. Like, subscribe and comment below. It really helps.
All right, let's talk about that dreaded glowing icon on your dashboard. Yep, the check engine light. We're going to zero in on one very specific message your Chevrolet might be sending you, the trouble code P1175. Let's dive right in and figure this out.
So you're driving along and boom, there it is. That light pops on and your stomach just drops, right? You start thinking about problems, mysteries, and let's be honest, expensive repair bills. But what if we look at it a different way? That light isn't just a problem, it's a message. Your car is literally trying to talk to you. And today, we're going to be the translator.
And the message we're decoding today is a diagnostic trouble code P1175. This is the main clue in our little mystery. So if you've plugged in a scanner and this is the code that popped up, you are in exactly the right place.
Now, besides just the light itself, you've probably noticed a few other things are off. Maybe the engine feels a bit shaky, like it's stuttering or misfiring. Or maybe you feel like you're best friends with the gas station attendant all of a sudden because your fuel economy has tanked. These are the classic calling cards for code P1175.
So what in the world does fuel trim cylinder balance bank 2 even mean? Let's make it simple. Think of your car's computer as a bartender, constantly trying to mix the perfect cocktail of air and fuel. For V-shaped engines, the cylinders are split into two sides, or banks. P1175 means the computer has a problem on bank 2, one side of your engine, and it just can't get that air-fuel cocktail right. It's like trying to balance a scale, and one side just refuses to level out. To get to the bottom of this, we've got to do a little detective work. We've lined up 4 main suspects. These are the most common culprits behind this particular code. We're going to investigate them one by one, starting with the easiest and working our way up. And here's our case file. As you can see, we've got our 4 suspects lined up, each with a known solution. We'll kick things off with a surprisingly common one, using the wrong sensor. From there, we'll look at a possible misfire, a faulty O2 sensor, and, last but not least, the car's computer itself. This is our roadmap. Let's get started with suspect number 1. Okay, our first suspect is something you might never even think of, a non-original or non-OE part. You know, sometimes in an effort to save a little cash, a cheaper aftermarket sensor gets installed, and believe it or not, that can be the root cause of this whole headache. And here's why that matters. OE stands for Original Equipment. These are the parts made by your car's manufacturer for your specific car. They speak the exact same language as your car's computer. Aftermarket parts, on the other hand, are made by somebody else, and while they're often cheaper, they might not communicate perfectly, which can cause confusion, false readings, and, you guessed it, error codes like P1175. The solution here can be as simple as swapping it out for the right OE spec part. All right, let's move on to suspect number 2, a misfiring cylinder. Now, in this case, the fuel balance issue that the code is screaming about isn't actually the main problem. It's a symptom. The real issue is that one cylinder isn't firing the way it should, and that throws the entire engine's rhythm out of whack, forcing the computer to throw up a flag. So how do you hunt down the misfire? Well, a mechanic will hook up a pro-level diagnostic tool and look at something called a misfire graph. This graph literally shows which cylinder is misbehaving. By looking at that data, they can pinpoint the exact troublemaker without just guessing and throwing new parts at the car. Okay, on to our third suspect, the O2 sensor itself. You can think of the oxygen sensor as the nose of your exhaust system. It's constantly sniffing the exhaust fumes to tell the computer how clean or dirty the burn is. If that sensor gets old or goes bad, it can't smell properly anymore. When an O2 sensor starts to fail, it sends junk data, or maybe no data at all, back to the car's brain. The computer gets totally confused, can't balance the fuel mixture, and triggers that P1175 code. Luckily, the fix for this is usually pretty straightforward. Just replace the bad sensor. And that brings us to our final and, most serious suspect, the car's brain itself. We're talking about the engine control module, or ECM. This little box is the central computer running the whole show. And while it's pretty rare, sometimes the computer is the one with the problem. And that's exactly why this is our last resort. You check everything else first, the sensors, you make sure it's not a misfire, you check the wiring. Only after you have ruled out every other possibility do you even start to think that the ECM, sometimes called the PCM or Powertrain Control Module, has failed. As you can imagine, Replacing it is usually the most complex and costly fix. So, after going through all the evidence and interviewing all our suspects, what's your next move? Well, the good news is you're now armed with the knowledge to understand what's going on under your hood. You can walk into a repair shop and have a really smart conversation about what needs to be checked. So let's boil it all down to the key takeaways. Number 1, code P1175 means your car is having a tough time balancing its air-fuel mixture on one side of the engine. Number 2, you have a clear path to follow, investigating our 4 main suspects. And number 3, and this is probably the most important thing to remember, a real diagnosis is absolutely crucial. Don't let anyone just start replacing parts hoping for the best. Find the real root cause. Which leaves us with one final thought. We started this whole conversation talking about that sinking feeling you get when the check engine light comes on. But now, after breaking it all down, maybe we can see it in a new light. Is that glowing icon really an enemy? Or is it your car's best messenger, giving you the exact clues you need to keep it happy and healthy? Something to think about.